Hello, friends, and welcome to Into Fly Fishing. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite fly fishing destinations. It's one you probably heard of, you might have been to, and if you haven't, you definitely should, and that is the Henry's Fork of the Snake. So let's get going. Welcome to Into Fly Fishing, everybody. I'm Nick Jovanovich, and today we're talking about the Henry's Fork of the Snake River, known locally and colloquially as the Henry's Fork. That's somewhere that I take a yearly vacation to, and I get to fish every time we're over there. And there's a reason that it's a storied place to fish. It's a blue ribbon trout river, and it is absolutely beautiful. A little bit about myself. I am a fly fishing guide. I've been guiding fly fishing in Southwest Montana for the last 15 years. I've also been fly fishing for myself for most of my life, 35 plus years. So I have a lot of experience in a lot of different things, a lot of different destinations, and helping others to learn the sport as well. Now, before we get going too far, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. It takes a lot of time, effort, and yes, even money to bring these videos to you. We love doing it. We want to keep doing it, but we need your support to keep this thing moving forward. Go ahead and do that for us. We'd really appreciate it. Now, let's get on with the Henry's Fork. So the Henry's Fork of the Snake River, or just the Henry's Fork, is an all Idaho river. It starts just outside of the Yellowstone Park boundary on the on the Idaho side of things, and we're talking about the greater Yellowstone area right now. That spot where Yellowstone Park sits, where eastern Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming all come together. We are still on the Idaho side of the situation. So the Henry's Fork gets its start from two separate sources. Number one, and mainly, is the big spring over at Johnny Sack's cabin, again, just outside of Yellowstone Park. It's a tourist attraction. You can hike up to it, and there's big fish over there too. You can't fish them, don't worry about it. And the other is the Henry's Lake outlet. Those two come together to form the main part of what we know as the Henry's Fork of the Snake River. Henry's Fork of the Snake is a very, very beautiful river. There's a couple of different distinct sections. Now, it comes, like I said, out of near West Yellowstone and heads south down toward the town of Island Park, Ashton, Rexburg, and then to just outside of Idaho Falls, where it hits the South Fork of the Snake, or the main fork of the Snake River. And the entire stretch of that river is fairly fishy. The most famous section is going to be that upper section around Island Park, kind of outside of Yellowstone, down through Island Park and below. That's a very alpine section of the river. As you get into Ashton, start moving down toward Rexburg and Idaho Falls, you kind of open up into this sort of eggland, big valley type of a river. Again, the fishing is still very good, but most people are fishing that Island Park area. I'm gonna get my bug assault, take care of these flies. Oh, late summer, these flies are everywhere. I hate them. Go ahead and land. Oh, that hurt my toe. So there's quite a bit of river to choose from, and luckily access isn't that limited. There's quite a bit of public access. Now, the river does flow through quite a bit of private property as well, but don't worry, throughout the entire stretch of this river, there are plenty of places to get down to launch a boat or to do some wade fishing. Now, a lot of people, like I said, fish that upper section, starting through the area called the Coffee Pot, where the water kind of percolates and you're picking spots and fishing pocket water. Below Island Park Reservoir, below the dam, there's a wonderful access there into Box Canyon, which is a beautiful stretch of river in a small canyon where there's still plenty of access. Now you're kind of coming out of the canyon into a lot of private property until you get closer to the town of Island Park, where you'll have the area called Last Chance right before town. You've got the town stretch, and then below town to the south, where you'll have the Harriman State Park area, known as the Railroad Ranch, or simply just the ranch. Now, after the ranch, of course, you'll have a lot of different farm lands, areas that are private, but there are plenty of boat accesses, boat launches, and places to get in and wade, going down to Ashton and Rexburg and into the Idaho Falls area. So, what is recommended as far as equipment to fish this river? Well, I definitely recommend having your standard Western trout rod, which is your 9 foot 5 weight fly rod. That's going to be your do everything rod for this area. I also like to bring a 9 foot 6 weight, and that's for specific situations, what I'll tell you about in just a moment. But that 9 foot 5 weight with a floating line is going to be your go to, a weight forward or a double taper line. Of course, match that line weight to the rod. This river is known for its dry fly fishing. Beautiful, beautiful dry fly fishing on this river. Of course, trout eat most of the time below the water surface, which means you're going to nymph a lot if you're not seeing any heads up, and you can streamer fish if you'd like to as well, which is where that 6 weight really comes into. You can throw some heavier flies with that 6 weight, some big foam if you're fishing some of the stonefly hatches, a little bit stiffer, more punchy 6 weight can help you out. Now, I mentioned the floating line, which is going to be your standard go-to. It's not a deep river necessarily, so whether you're fishing dry flies, nymphing, or throwing streamers, you can use that float line just great. Now, if you are a streamer junkie, you might be showing up in the springtime or the fall. Of course, earlier in the year in that springtime runoff area, you're going to have higher water anyway. And a lot of those streamer guys like to fish a sink line or a sink tip to get that streamer down into those deeper areas. Not necessary, not it's not something you have to have, but it is a nicety. Now, what kind of fish can you expect to catch on this river? Well, the Henry's Fork of the Snake has a wonderful plethora of fish. You've got everything from brook trout up in that alpine section, especially through the coffee pot. You've got rainbows, you've got cutthroat, you have the hybrid rainbow cutthroat cutbow, and you have brown trout. Let's not forget about that whitefish too. There's plenty of whitefish up and down the river. Of course, people like to make fun of whitefish until you have a tough day of trout fishing, and then hooking into at least something that pulls hard. And there are some big whitefish in this river. Can really make you feel a little bit better about yourself. And what's the season on this river? This is a true four-season river. You can fish this thing all year long, even in the winter. It's a tailwater again. Like I said, it's behind the dam. So you have a lot of open water. You get some springs feeding in. So you really can fish this river nearly all year. It is near Yellowstone Park. So you're talking about 6,000 plus feet above sea level. It can get pretty chilly. So just be prepared with your layers. You get some really, really nice hatches in the cold weather with those cold weather bugs. Springtime, summertime, that's going to be high travel time. You're going to be around a lot of people. That traffic kind of starts to dwindle into the fall, which is one of my favorite times to be over there as well. Really, it's a true four-season river. Now let's talk about your fly selection. Of course, this is going to depend on what time of year you're visiting. This river is a wonderful cold weather fishery. If you're out there in the winter, the early spring, or the late fall, you're going to be using a lot of midge or blue wing olive patterns. In the springtime, you're going to see a really nice March brown hatch, followed closely with brown drakes and green drakes. And I've seen some really, really big drakes on this river. I mean, I'm talking helicopters flying around. Right in that same neck of the woods in the early summer, late spring, early summer, you're going to get some big stoneflies hatch. And you've got that famous salmon fly hatch on this river. And it's one of the better hatches around. Followed closely by the golden stone hatch, almost as big sometimes as the salmon flies, especially at the beginning of the hatch. The size kind of starts to go down as you get later into the golden stone hatch. And then we are closely followed up then by those midsummer, that hot weather type bug. We're talking your PMDs, your little yellow sallies, and caddis. Lots of caddis on this river as well. Be prepared. You're going to want to bring everything from nymphs to emergers to cripples to adults to spinners and everything in between. It's a tailwater, so fish can get a little bit picky and key on a very specific size, color, and stage of life. Now, this river is one of those that I kind of refer to as a free water or a tailstone. So it's not really a classic tailwater in the way you look at the river. It's got some bigger boulders, so it looks like a freestone, but it is a tailwater behind the dam. It's dam controlled, so you have elements of both in there, much like the Madison River on the Montana side of things. So whether you're float fishing with a guide, you're bringing your own boat, or you're just wade fishing this river, there are plenty of places to get in and fish. Just be prepared. You're going to want to bring really layers and waders for all four seasons, no matter if you're there in the winter or in the summer. Again, we're close to Yellowstone Park. I've had days where it's 85 to 92 or something like that outside and sunny, and we're wet wading, we're feeling good. That river doesn't get super, super cold in the summer. It's actually very comfortable to wet wade. It's not really deep, deep water. But then the next day or the day after that, you get a big storm that comes in. This rainstorm just cools everything down, and we're talking like 50 degrees, and it's chilly feeling, especially when that rain's coming down. So make sure you bring your waders. You never know if you're going to wear them, even in the summer. So good fleece bottoms, fleece top, and definitely have a rain jacket. Or of course, if you're there in the winter, you want a nice, heavy, waterproof, insulated jacket at that time. There's some very famous fly shops in the area, and especially in Island Park itself. Now we're talking about Three Rivers Ranch. You've got Trout Hunters. You've got Henry's Fork Angler. They're all very well known, and they all have a lot of good information. Big time tip here: when you go into a fly shop to ask for information, don't leave empty-handed. That's not good reciprocity. Go buy a couple of flies. Go get something from them for the information. Don't just ask them for information and then take off to the river. That's just bad fishing karma. Get something from them, help support them for supporting you. Good reciprocity there. Now, what about getting to the area and staying? Well, there's not really any good airports right nearby unless you've got a private plane or a small charter. Then you can land in the area. Otherwise, you're going to have to land somewhere like Bozeman, Montana, or Idaho Falls, Idaho. Idaho Falls might be a little bit closer of a drive. Not always the best flights for the big commercial airlines. Bozeman, you might have a better chance with that. And really, you're just at 2 hours or over driving from Bozeman, Montana to Ennis, Montana, over Reynolds Pass to Island Park. And of course, once you're in the Island Park area, you're already in Greater Yellowstone. You have a lot of places you can fish. You can head out and fish the Teton River. You can fish the main fork or the south fork of the Snake River. You can jump into Wyoming and fish that side of the Snake. You can fish Yellowstone Park if you want to as well. Lots of great fishing in Yellowstone Park. Make sure you have your park pass and your park fishing license to fish in there. There's some good stuff on the west side, which is the closest entrance to Island Park and Henry's Fork. But a lot of the better fishing, in my humble opinion, in the park is a little further east and northeast in Yellowstone versus the west side. And Island Park is just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Montana side of things. Remember, you're in Greater Yellowstone there, where eastern Idaho, where western Wyoming and Montana all come together around Yellowstone Park. So you can take a very short drive up over Reynolds Pass and hit the world famous Madison River. Of course, make sure you get your Montana fishing license if you're going to do that as well, but that's always an option. So it's really great to have all these options in a very small area. But I really don't think you'll get bored fishing the Henry's Fork, to be honest. All right, friends, I hope you liked this video. If you haven't fished the Henry's Fork yet, I highly recommend putting it on your bucket list. It is one of those classic storied blue ribbon rivers that you need to experience at least once or 25 times in your lifetime. Anyhow, get over there and you will not regret it. Thanks again for watching this. If you don't mind liking this video and following this channel, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. We appreciate you. I'm Nick Jovanovich. This is Into Fly Fishing, and we'll see you out here again next time. Take care.